But yes, speaking up to them with that confidence, and the confidence of the, now quadruple threat that you are becoming, not just one. So in a weird way, as going to museums, having the ability to communicate and talk about things like art and higher end things, it also lets you speak on the level and feel like, they're that you're speaking their language. So that's what I would do.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's good advice. Yeah, I'm not really into. I probably should start doing that then, getting into like the high end stuff, because obviously I'm like, I just come out of uni, like I'm that classic like uni student, like young guy. So yeah, I do need to, if that is going to be my target audience, get into that mind frame.
And you can play at the level you're ready to play at. Like, you don't have to go and try and work with King Charles, today. It's just thinking a bit of like someone who's making 50 grand a year or 70 grand a year. You don't have to go for the 250 grand a year banker in London today. But if your plan is to work with 18-year-olds for the next 3 years, 5 years, like there's a cap on that. So thinking in that direction of like what's the most valuable solution I can offer. And then that gives you the opportunity when you're doing this stuff of like, well, maybe they're that level, and you can always downsell and use, have your other offers and things. But the more you're thinking about that and working towards that, the better you'll do everything as well. Like, if it feels like it's a ton of money to you, then you'll want to do it better. You'll respect your own product that you're developing more, all your content, all your members' site. It's like, okay, I'm developing this for King Charles. Then you think about it differently to like, oh, they're only paying fucking £10 a month for it anyway, the lazy bastards. Then you build it to that standard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I can't remember what that thing's called, but it's when like you actually have to pay money to be invested in it, or like you say, like you think it's worth a lot more, so you have to rise to that standard. That's like what it is kind of uncommon. Like, you have to pay this money to be in it, so people actually do stuff rather than just paying like a really low price, and you won't actually do it.
100%.
Skin in the game.
Well, yeah, what do you want to share there, Andrew? I'm sure you got experiences that overlap with some of what we're talking about here.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? All right.
Yeah, all good.
Cool. Yeah. What you're saying there, having skin in the game, I think is a big thing for how you adjust, how you think about what what value you're giving to people. So like you're saying, I've worked in a gym for a few years now, and given like a lot of like free programs away to members in the gym, and you only give them a certain level of value because it's something you're giving for free. You're not charging for it, so you don't obviously give it your all your effort, unless you have some other offer that you're obviously going to try and sell to them, which is what I found this last month since adjusting how I'm looking at it, is giving more value to people in those situations, because I'm working on something that I can then offer to them afterwards, if that makes sense. Like giving them this free 2-day plan and emailing them that plan, because I'm thinking in my mind, I'm going to give them this really good 2-day plan. If they want more, I can then upsell what I'm working on right now, which is a like 6-week plan kind of thing. So
right, so
it's obviously different for you because I work in a gym, so I'm in that environment, and I have access to people to obviously like trial it and kind of get feedback and stuff like that. So I think that's key. There's something that Keegan said in some of the videos in the TFE is like, start out giving it away for free and then just build momentum from that. And that's kind of what I'm focusing on at the minute. So
yeah,
a little bit of my kind of perspective, I guess.
No, yeah, that's good. So yeah, it's kind of like, because obviously I went to that Hormozy event and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like a small lead magnet in a way.
Yeah.
I recorded one lead magnet and I was like, oh shit. So I got rid of it and restarted it. But it was like a case study of like how I fixed my knee. And then at the end, obviously, you go into like a bit of the offer and stuff. But I need to get that dialed in, and then I'll use that for like people I'm DMing. I think
too, not getting too caught up on everything has to be perfect. Like, you have to start somewhere. And, I know that my first program that I'm going to be giving to people isn't going to be the best program. I'm going to just keep trying to perfect it. And every time I get more people to do it, you get better results, better testimonials, you're building your credibility, and then you're leveraging that to obviously put the price up and, give them more stuff. So like the nutrition guide stuff that you mentioned, and that stuff. So that's all stuff I'm building too. I'm in the same kind of boat as you, really, because I've just not focused on the online stuff at all. I've just been doing in-person stuff. I should have been doing this stuff, but better late than never. But so yeah, I'm in a very similar boat. I think just focus on getting the stuff done, like what Keegan's saying, like the action, getting the stuff done, getting some offer. It doesn't, like, at the start, it's not going to be the best offer, but get some offer, and just roll with it and keep updating it, keep improving it, testing it.
You could also look at it as going hunting, right? So depending on what you're going hunting for, you need different tools. If you're going whale hunting, you need a big harpoon. If you're going whatever catching, you could do it with a net. So what are you bringing a harpoon to a whale? In a sense, like, is the offer that you have able to take them down? But the interesting thing about in that analogy is that even whales bleed and anything can be taken down. And that's like, as long as a man, once he takes the beast out of the fear of the beast, now it's just a living creature that needs to be taken down strategically. And that may come in a few different forms. So those rich, wealthy men, they're still men. They still bleed. They still have fears. They still have families. They still have all of these things that you're able to connect with them on. But, obviously they're probably better at moving past their fears, moving forward, seeing how the path that you lay out for them is actually something that they're going to be able to walk on.
Yeah.
So that belief in it is what must exude from you, so that the person on the other side is like, hell yeah, man, I want some of what this guy is offering.
Yeah.
And with your youth, you could look at your youth as a disadvantage, but everybody that's older might look at your youth as the advantage of what you're bringing fresh. They can see themselves in you. And so if you've got like a more of that hardworking story, you need to share that story so that those that have put themselves through work, expanded, lost the sleep, and achieve that higher connection, they're like, yeah, I got to give this guy a break because I was that driver once too, or something like that. That's the shine I would give to the offer, is that like authenticity, that excitement, that youthful passion, that they're like, oh man, I want to get out of my seat. I don't want to sit here anymore. I want that youth. Yeah. I need to be around it. So
yeah, like you say, every single thing has an advantage and disadvantage, just whether you look at the advantage that you've got or the disadvantage.
Yeah. And then I have been one to try through, if I'm not targeting specifically, I want to ask a few questions to know how they put together their values. If they're a math man, they're going to speak in percentages. If they're a woman that is an artist, they're going to talk about connections and feelings, and they're not going to be swayed by, you'll get 25% more out of your stretch. So it's once you know, because like as Keegan was mentioning, doing those sort of like psychological profiles, now you're talking to them in the things that is interesting to them, or how they look at the world.
Yeah.
So kind of like having a sales adjustment for if you're talking to a teacher compared to a lawyer, compared to an accountant. It's varying quantities of value. And then sometimes you just have to start throwing shit at the wall because you think you've got a businessman, but they love guitar at heart, and you can bond with them more on your habit and your hobby that you love, and then they believe you and trust you, and they're ready to listen and they're ready to buy.
Yeah, no, that's good advice as well. Yeah, I think just doing it and starting it, and like you say, like talking to all these different kind of people, I'm gonna get more and more used to it and better at it. Just try and go at it with confidence to start with, and then see what happens.
It is worth it. You're putting a price on life when most other people won't do that. You're putting a value to it, and if they follow through, it's worth everything and more. That their fear of, is this money worth me failing again? If you believe you're gonna fail again, then it might not be worth it. But if it works, now it's the best X amount of dollars that you've ever spent because it actually fixed the job or did the job.
Yeah, exactly. When I had my knee injury, like if someone was like, give me your life savings and it'll be fixed, I'll be like, yeah. So it's about that perceived, like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and I was listening to the EMC, even in the first session when they're talking about the map. I intend to bring in an actual map to have them show of, okay, I intend to target baby boomers, right? So it's pretty easy to lay out the life that they will lead if they don't exercise, if they don't eat right. The shoulders slump, the chair lifts for you. I could paint a pretty ugly picture of life in the hallway at some sort of senior center for the final 10 years of my life, of somebody's life. I watched my grandmother go through it. That's no way to be. So laying out that path and having them see, like, that's the way that it could go, and then this is the way that it'll go with you, feels a lot more attractive. But this is all in the repetition of it. You just gotta you gotta do it. You gotta say it. You gotta love it. People are gonna smile at you when you give them a high price, and then you just smile back. Of course, it's a high price. It's extremely valuable. Like, what are you talking about? Look at them as if they're crazy for not valuing it of what you do, because anybody that gets on the board with this is with all of these levels, now they believe in themselves and they can move forward. So
yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Another point I'd probably make off my own reflection is everybody has their own way of doing things. Everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses. And I'd say at least maybe when you're starting out, and this is how I'm approaching it, is playing to your strengths whilst also trying to develop your weaknesses. So I'm terrible at social media and those things, of like being on video. And this kind of thing that we're doing now is something that I'm very weak at. And I know that. So I'm trying to improve those things, but at the same time, I'm playing to my strengths, which is the helping people in person and finding ways that I can leverage that to obviously improve my skill and develop that to how I can move that to helping people online. But at the moment, I know I'm getting a lot more value from those in-person engagements, those in-person conversations that I'm having with people about their goals, about, you know, what I'm doing, about what they're doing, those things, having that exposure is strengthening my ability to do it in person, which I'm then going to try and obviously use that to get better at doing it online, because that's the challenge for me, is moving it to an online experience. So I know I can do it in person, but can I deliver it online? I've never done it, so I don't know. So I'm putting myself in that situation and just, yeah, trying to still play to my strengths whilst working on challenging myself in that area, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. I think something that I've heard about the gym and stuff is that like you always focus on your weaknesses first. Like when I'm in the gym, first thing I do is the thing that I want to get better at. So if you're already good at all the in-person stuff, I would say like try and like you are now, like get onto this stuff, get on social media first thing, and like, because the first thing you do is always going to be the thing you improve at.
Yeah. If we all just stuck to our strengths, we wouldn't develop in anything. If your strength was, you know, deadlifting, that's all you'd do, you'd be very good at deadlifting, but you'd be terrible at everything else. So obviously it depends what if you plan to specialize in something. You know, powerlifters, for example, in the gym, like there's a lot of powerlifters in my gym that, you know, they just deadlift, bench, squat, deadlift, bench, squat. That's all you ever see them doing, occasional accessory stuff. And they get really good and specialize in that. But if you were to get them to try and do a handstand or do some other movement or whatever in the gym, bodyweight stuff, calisthenics, any of that stuff, it'd be terrible. Try and get them to do an L-sit, for example, it'd be terrible, because that's not part of their strength.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we all want to be like good at a lot of different things. So I think it's balancing that specialization and that also developing a bigger base overall is, I think, key. Like all areas, like I'm not so good at, you know, all those, the online side of things and all that stuff. So I'm trying to get better at that, but still focusing on what I'm better at, if that makes sense. So
100%.
Yeah, Andrew, I'm in a similar situation to you, that all my vast experience is in-person stuff. And I used to be more of a just sell personal training for a team of trainers. So I sat in front of thousands of people with only a half hour to bond, connect, sell, and then hand them off to somebody else. And now that I am looking to build an online business, I think it's a different type of business. It's not what we've been doing in the gym, and now we do it online. I'm sort of looking at it as, you know, getting comfortable with the filming of, I kind of think that it's more of like using 2 or 3 hours a day of your downtime or what I intend to do, to start filming myself and putting that kind of stuff out there of my availability for those that will then jump on and have access to me, sort of like what these mentorship situations are evolving into. And then it becomes like, I would say those that are on live might be able to only pay a certain rate. And then after a few hours, like the live feeds gets bundled into a downloadable recording that they could then, if they want to watch what you did for your dense strength for the day, they just pay $1 and download the video of the day or something like that. You know, maybe Keegan would have a better direction on the different ways of making money, jumping into.
Well, Chris, what are your strengths? What have you been doing? What do you love doing? What's coming out naturally as soon as you get the opportunity? What do you feel most confident about that this group feels least confident about?
Oh, talking to people in sales, like pushing them to believe in themselves.
Correct. How valuable is it to be able to do sales?
Extremely. To have the confidence that I'm bringing, that I have in myself, or that these men don't, is huge.
We need to have a conversation about that, because we've had this conversation a few times now, and you've got something that's valuable, and that's a good place. Yeah, starting where you're really strong. For you, Andrew, is like if you know that you're good face to face and you're very confident with that, build from where you're good. So have that conversation with George. I just had with George. I think I recorded
What was his name? George
Birch.
Birch.
He's down in Devon, I think. He's down.
Cool.
Yeah. Leverage what you're already good at. Just make it into a hybrid model. So build all your online product for your face-to-face clients to give them more value, and then sell them. Okay, you get to see me once a week and I look after everything for you. It's the same price as if you're going to come and see me 3 times a week, because you're going to get the same result. You don't tell them that, but that's the fact of the matter. And as beautiful as you are, they would rather spend less time with you and get the same result and not have to make their schedule and travel across town. And if you can set them up where they do it first thing in the morning before they go to work and it fits seamlessly in their schedule, that's more valuable than having more time face to face with it. For some, you will have others who want to CrossFit or snatch or something, and if they want more face to face, and they'll need it for a period of time. But a large party market would rather see you less and get more results. People pay more money for liposuction than they do for personal training. Why? It's fast, it's guaranteed. All they have to do is pay the money and it's done. If the more you can make your service feel like that, the better, more attractive that service becomes.
Also, like, the more you can make it simple for them to follow and stick to.
Forces you to simplify. If you are going to have, okay, we're going to see each other once a week. Start with, for the first 2 weeks, we're going to see each other every day. You come 5 times a week, 5 days in a row. But then you're bought in, they love you, you know each other, connection strong. All right, let's see each other once a week. All right, let's see each other once a month. And it's the same price because it's the same result. And that's how it works for you. Or the price goes down a bit, but it doesn't have to go down that much if the service is there. And then you go to Spain once a year, you go to Scotland and hike a mountain once a year, and it's a cool club to be in. And, it's an excuse not to be who they were before. That done with you DIY approach, after you've worked with me for 6 months, you'll never need another personal trainer again. How valuable is
kind
that?
of my whole model is that what you're speaking about now is my whole model. I've had it in mind for a long time, but
do you have it?
I didn't have
get it
this
to
in
market.
place, or
But
can I ask you guys that are working or have challenge with sales, would you have any interest if you were saying that I would listen in on what you are doing to your sales and I could give you any feedback? Or basically, as I used to be the sales manager, would you have interest in that kind of consulting a little bit on, are you doing this, developing the script and putting you through the training paces that a person needs to, just like, I can't handstand push up yet, but I have got like 100 different levels to get my body beginning to get there. So is that something of an interest that you would want or be open to while I'm testing out that kind of coaching, sales business coaching?
Yeah,
something I'd be interested in.
Yeah, I think that's literally like the area that I'm trying to develop the most. And I work with another like mastermind kind of thing, and I send my sales call. Well, I've had 2 sales calls so far, and I send them to him, and he like gives me notes and feedback and stuff. But yeah, actually working on like the preparation and the training as well would be good. Yeah.
It is a skill and it is something that can be practiced, but yeah. So let's, if you guys wouldn't mind booking through the calendar, we'll start up a little talk, see where exactly you're at. I'll show you some of the materials that I have and see if we can't kind of build something and check in. Because it sounds like you actually don't have a script, like an actual script that you could stick to 90% of the time, because that is what, in the beginning, for somebody that's shy, you have to have something to fall back on, so you're not winging it. You're not ready to wing it.
I actually do have a bit of a script written out, to be fair, because like I say, like in my other mastermind, that it is like a lot about sales, and I also get my DM scripts and stuff like that from there, and it goes through like, so I'll just run with you through a little bit. I don't have it with me, but I'll just, off the top of my head, it goes like, obviously you got the rapport building first, and then you establish authority.
No, tell me, how do you build rapport? Like, because that's everything starts there.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
that obvious rapport, like if you were introduced by somebody, like a referral, that's like an obvious rapport that's built in. So trust has been bestowed upon you to that person, because without that actual rapport, they'll not listen because they don't trust you as a source. So that, you know, that's where I will slow you down and not just build in. You have that rapport unless it's set up like that. Like that's in sales, that's like rule number one. You can't move on to the questioning for need until you have rapport locked down. And if it takes you 10 times to initiate that rapport to get it right, because you don't want to blow your possible one opportunity to make that sale, you gotta wait until their eyes come up, or, you know, we would go through that. But anyway, so I just want to be very specific about that rapport. But if you will say that you have it, go for it and give me a little of what you have so far.
yeah, so I mean, on the rapport building, I can give you an example. The other day, it was the guy's birthday, so I just had a conversation about like what he's doing. Like he was going out for a Chinese in the evening, so I was just talking about that, and like we also had some similar interest in this, in the fact that we were both from the UK and we were playing football and stuff. So I was talking about that as well. And then after like 3 or 4 minutes of that, went into like I said, just like laid out the call. So I was like, here's what's going to happen. We're going to talk about like where you are at the moment, where you're going to be, and then like we'll try kind of map out a little bit of like the middle point, how to get you from A to B. Then I said, if it's possible, could we get to like a decision today about, yeah, whether it's like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it, or like, nah, it's not for me, either way, you won't hurt my feelings, that kind of thing. And then into like the questioning, I think that's where I need work, is like the digging deep on like, because the guy that gave me notes on it said I asked some good questions to start with, but when the guy that I was talking to said certain stuff, I wasn't able to take what he said and go deeper into it. So like, what would be the result if you didn't get this? Because he was trying to get to a triathlon in like January or something, get out of pain for that, and it'd be like, what would be the case if you didn't get to that, like that kind of stuff.
Could you repeat that question at the end there?
How do you go about picking up on what people say and digging deep in it, like knowing what triggers them to get more like invested in it?
Okay, so what offhand, how, I don't know. What I am interested in is what he had for his Chinese food on his birthday, and what else he did on his birthday. Yeah. And what other things about him, like a guy from England turning to Chinese food for his birthday, is that like his annual thing, or is it he's just taking whatever and he, yeah, so that's the interest in the person that you're in front of.
Yeah.
Right. So that's in that rapport, to me, that connecting, because like you had there was a rapport situation, and then it got a little lost in the concreteness of your sale process, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So he asked a question, you asked a question, he gave an answer, and you were in your head ready more for question 2, as opposed to exploring question 1's answer, because you might have had him at question 1. If you get him talking about question 1, about, oh, this is what's important to me, that's it. well, Buck, man, it's time to strike. You know, it's that buying temperature, you know, and you know, I'm talking in a few generalizations because I don't know the type of setup or expectation you have with this person when I say buying temperature, right? So in a gym situation, if I walked up to somebody on the floor and was like, oh, there's a, have you ever worked with a trainer before? They said, yeah, I've had 10 trainers. Great. Why don't you get a package? Use your credit card up front. They're like, okay. And you just walk them right up front and you say, do it. I don't have to take their body measurements. I don't have to go through all of it because that person was there ready to buy. They've done it before. They know the deal. They're excited. Boom. It's done. Snatch it up.
Yeah.
So what were some of the things that the person you spoke to said you didn't pick up on?
So I'll get the notes out quickly. He said, go deeper on the discovery will allow you to 10 times your pitch. Go deep on why he's struggling to make it happen himself. He mentioned not being too sure on which exercise to do, and why it's, and then also why it's important that it happens now rather than in the future.
So the exercise choice is like, when he says he's confused on what to do, you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm taking care of that. So you hear a fear, you immediately, you put it out, no problem. Okay. So addressing, if they give you something to address, you nip it in the bud. Okay. But the more specifics and the more that you review it and take that. And when he says go deeper, it's, you have to have a creative way of asking a question to find out more, right? You do this with your friends when they're telling you about what they did last weekend or last month, right? You have a totally natural, how did the last 30 days of your life go? And you're picking up on the little things. You'll ask another question here, another question there. It's just because you're actually viewing them as a friend.
Yeah.
Maybe you should be looking at it as you're interviewing them of, do I want to spend time with you and begin this process because I'm going to put my all into you, and are you going to be wasting my time? Because there's a price for that. When you don't do what I say at the end of month one, the price goes up 25% if you want to keep working with me.
Yeah.
Or you could do then like, again, as you do more and I have to do less, your price goes down. But now we're into, do they value money over time or goals? This is now speaking to their specifics. Like in New York, where I'm from, everybody knows those leading questions, right? They kind of can sometimes take a comfortable conversation and make it feel business.
Right.
You want to blur that line, or how comfortable are you talking business? Some people like to go out on weekends to garage sales just to chew people down that they're putting out like a family treasure for $1. And they're like, no, I'll give you 20 cents. They just love it. They love it. They love the haggle. They want to be part of it. It's okay to address that. Everybody's got to do it. We all got to do the tough stuff. So, any other feedbacks in there that the guy gave you that made you think a little bit more?
Yeah. So also he said on my pitch, I talked about features, but I should have laid out in a way that was like, you get this feature so that you get, so say like you have the weekly check-ins so that you never fall off and you have accountability and that kind of thing, and link it back to what he said about certain stuff. And also, like he said, you're not too sure about what exercises do. You get individualized programming with form videos so that, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you get the sale?
No.
Okay. What was his final? What were the no's? Like what was the end result? Like there was either some final objection. Oh, I don't have the money. oh, I'm not ready to do it. What was the
Yeah.
last one?
Yeah, he said pricing, but obviously that just comes to how much he views the value of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And this could be in that rapport category, because if he doesn't trust you, he doesn't in the rapport, he's
Yeah.
not set up to believe the things that you're telling him are going to work. Okay. Now because when somebody's like, well, you didn't exactly tie it back, like he knows how it gets back there. Yeah, accountability works. You know, what do you mean it doesn't work? Like, it's ridiculous for it not. Now he may want to hear it, that it's going to improve his results or get him there 20 to 30% faster, because he values that number system. You know, it's gonna improve his life, it's gonna make him sleep, it's gonna, you know, get him respect from his men, or the what he's really looking for in life, you know. And that again is in that rapport. So how did if everybody's okay to keep going on this, how did you come up with the lead? Like what was your setup to be sitting down with this person?
So I do it over Zoom. What I do is when someone follows me, I send them a message saying, I have like some stuff saved in my Instagram. I just send them a message saying like, hi, thanks for the follow. Are you dealing with pain? That kind of stuff. And then I go into a DM script, which is like, what are your goals? And then like, this is just briefly, but like, what are your goals? And then like, listen to what he says. And then what do you think is going to be the biggest struggle about that? And then I say something like, I'm happy to hop on like a quick 15-20 minute call to help you map out a bit of a game plan. And then if you want to work with me after, all good. If you don't see the value in working with me, all good as well. Something like that.
And did you put him through any activity or make him do anything, or was this all conversation?
Yeah, it's all conversation.
I mean, that's a little bit tougher in my opinion, because I don't think you've given a chance to showcase anything. Not to say that it can't be done by any means, but without taking, I'm thinking a lot about how, like, well, if you've met these people online, and that's where you might actually be a little bit more comfortable in this forum than in person, you might want to try to actually close the deal in this online, the way that you met them. It's kind of like connecting with a girl maybe that you met chatting, and then you're in person and you're like, whoa, this is really different. This is a real different connection now that or non-connection now that we're there. But you know, maybe, I don't know if Keegan has any thoughts on that, if it's easier to kind of close in the way that you met them, like if you met from DMs, you close from DMs, or is it inevitably where
I made a lot of
demonstrate?
starts for DMs, but generally it's been like warm audience. Welcome Alvin, who's jumping in now. And Alvin's up next here for the chat. Depending on what you're selling, it can be, what we did that worked really well for a long time was get to a conversation point where it's like, cool, I can send you all the details about how it works to work with me. What's your best email address? And then you get their email address. You send them an email that is a sales email that says, tell me yes or no at the bottom of it. And we made a lot of sales with that approach. It doesn't mean it's the end if they say no. You still ask for the objection and you go through the process. Dropping voice notes is a way to escalate things, or video notes. If you can see like the rapport building, there's a lot of detail to like selling by text that you can do it really well. It depends on the price point of whether you want to sell direct through the DMs, what your first sale is. If you want to sell more than 2,000, then generally you want to get on a call. If it's less than 2,000, then selling by text can be fine. And people like don't want to waste their time on a call. They don't want like the awkwardness of like, I don't really want to talk to this guy. I just want to get the result. Like it's, you got to look at it from their perspective as well. Like some people are going to see it in that way of like, okay, just give me the answer. And so sending videos can be helpful as well. Like that's something that worked really well, is like give them something that's going to be helpful, like what Chris is saying with get them moving. Like, hey, this is one exercise that will help to get you out of pain really quickly. And then there's more that we need to do to be able to long-term bulletproof so you can get back to what you want to do. But this will help get rid of some of the pain. Let me know how it feels for you. Like, can you send them that first video? And you can do that as a custom video. And then it shows how committed you are. And like, oh, cool, this guy's cool. He just made me a video. He's real. There's a lot of detail of how you can get really good at that process if you want to be good. The challenge is first like wanting to be good, which is where you're at, which is great. And then the details will all be solved. And you're making nice content that you're going to have people seeing your stories and seeing your reels. So you got people to message. And then it's just how do we make the offer attractive? How do we increase your credibility? Get in some international testimonials on your website and into your pinned stories, whatever those things are called, all that sort of stuff. It's all going to level you up. But yeah, that was really cool. And I think we can see Chris's genius zone coming out here as well, which is another beautiful thing about this process. Thanks for your share there, Chris. And as I said, let's continue the conversation around that. I want to introduce Alvin here, or Alvin to introduce himself. He's not too far away from here, and he's coming.
Sorry, I'm on the. Sorry, I'm in the car, so sorry. That's why I don't have the video on. Yeah.
We can see
so,
You're good.
Yeah. Sorry, maybe I'll cut it because it's probably not a nice angle. But anyway, Alvin. I'm French, 41 years old, divorced, have 2 daughters. Been living in Luxembourg for the last 11 years. Also spent some time in the UK. Been in financial services for the last 17 years in risk and compliance mainly. And I think decided I tried it in the past as well to launch something like a separate business like a coffee shop, etc. But I think one of the key things when I didn't succeed is because I think I didn't find something that truly resonated with what I wanted to do and what my values are. So I think when I saw actually Keegan, that was a post that Marcus Feely shared, like a story with you, and I was quite intrigued. And then I looked at your videos and I thought, shit, there are some people out there who are fit, making money, and have a lot of drive, want to help each other out, and make progress regardless of where they are in their lives. So with all that in mind, I joined Income back in May. Unfortunately, my mom passed away at the end of May, so kind of things were a bit blurry for me and put the whole thing on pause for a little while, and then got back into it, have a few calls that inspired me to work on this again. And lately, because for me it's such a big group with so much information that, considering my nature, which is more kind of introverted, and actually the extroverted part is being efficient and focusing on efficiency. So I thought, hey, why don't I apply the Income model, which is work with a group of people who are the same stage where I am, and get a mentor to help us out, to give us direction. So that's what we did over the last month, was to work on what's our vision, what are our values. And then, I think maybe in terms of timing, I was being a bit too, expected maybe a little bit too much from the group, as, wanted to come up with business ideas. And then the last week, with a business plan. I think interestingly, out of the 4 people who joined me on this cycle, I think Eddie has been great as a mentor in terms of providing us guidance with. 2 other guys, kind of followed me, and one of them is still doing that work in terms of questioning himself, where he is, what he wants. But then another 2 dropped, and I need to link up with them again to understand why they dropped, because initially I think what I was saying and what they were saying, really resonated. So I think, now I'm at the stage where I figured out what I wanted to do, which is, the next chapter. So possibly, stay in financial services, because that's where all my network is. If you look at my LinkedIn page, I have probably well over 1,000, connections. I know how, kind of people think there and what their problems are. So I think what I'm going to do next is study to get the international coaching certification, to get, like a label, to get my foot in the door, and also learn properly how to coach executives. And then, taking that angle, then I will also like to have a product which, once you get start working on the mental, I'll also work on the physical side and possibly on the nutrition side. So that's kind of my plan over the next 18 months. And of course, help wherever I can help along the way within Uncom, and keep the, the communication flowing. So yeah, sorry if it wasn't a brief intro, but.
No, that's good. That gives us good background. It's pretty clear. You're looking to your work in the financial sector to do this ideally, or is it something you'd rather have on the side long term?
I don't know. I think, I'll be honest. I think whoever can pay the 25K offer, and if it's in financial services, then fine. If it's outside as well, but I think that's one thing, is that to make it sustainable, it needs to be successful. So I'll basically tap into what I know, and then happy to then grow the network, and basically get to where I want, figure wise, because I think I'm not, salary wise, I'm not starting from the bottom. So for me, there's quite a lot to some extent at stake, although you can argue that anything I have is just an illusion. And that's just life in general. Whatever is material, relationships, it's all a bit of an illusion. So I could risk all of that, or I can take an approach where I build small, and make those small steps, and that will bring me where I want to be, really.
Yep. Very good. So yeah, what do you need help with now?
I think it's about now is about focus, I think, and really, I think finding that, and that's where I think the dab will probably come into play, where I need to just have those small, I think, chunks of time scheduled during the day, where I basically, start trucking, when it comes to my project. And I think just keep talking to people, to basically also, I think, manage my fear, because the fear of change, I think, is weighing in, and I can feel it. So I think it's managing that fear along the way, that I'm going into the unknown, but other people have done that, so I can do that successfully as well.
What if you started as a teammate instead of as a coach?
Yeah, that's also what I thought, and that's a little bit, when I have my monthly calls, with John Clayton, I also say that, because I think he also wants to become, a coach, etc. Although I think his background, it feels like he has much more credibility than I would have, considering that he studied psychology. But yeah, possibly, that could also be something. Yeah.
What I mean by that is, what if you went to the kind of people you'd like to work with on LinkedIn and say, hey, I see you're in finance and you're also into fitness. I found it difficult to find other men with similar values. These are my goals for the year. Wondering if you have any similar goals and would like to hold each other accountable. I would like to, my goal is to progress this into a career, but just looking for other like-minded men. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I think, one of the things is, when I talk to, either existing colleagues or former colleagues who went through a burnout, I think they're all looking for something, similar, which is, meaning. And I think that's the thing a little bit in financial services, that you trade. It's very much a cliche, but you trade, a lot of your values for money. And then because you feel secure, you're kind of scared to go out there again. But definitely that's an idea. When I talk to my colleagues, some of my colleagues, about what I want to do, one of them told me, I want to be your first client. So yeah, that's an idea, to bring, people along and work as a team.
How much did you study to be able to do what you do now?
At the moment, I think it's been more of a, kind of just my own experience reading books about NLP, and doing a lot of journaling.
I mean, your
So yeah. Sorry.
What did you study at university?
Law. Yeah.
Law.
So yeah.
Your master's?
Law as well.
Did a master's in law, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. So I did spend 6 years studying law. So yeah.
What have you done since then?
Well, I've done quite a number of things. Work in so fund operations, business development.
I mean the education side of things. I want to dive into the education.
Education. Not much actually. I think the only thing where I've been studying was then on the investments side. But then then it's only been like here and there, some trainings. And then of course, some director, traineeship on how to manage teams, do these sort of things. So
Yeah. So you've done some specific courses.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is how do people generally think about lawyers in terms of intelligence, discipline, not in terms of necessarily character and stuff. Like some people fucking hate lawyers just because it's can cost a lot of money and be a pain in the ass if you have to use them. But generally around the education side of things, right? It's very well respected.
Yeah.
So how much of what you learn at university is really like what you need day to day in your role?
If you want to go down that route, I think it's probably not much, to be honest. The one of the things maybe that I remember is the methodology. Being able to synthesize like very long text into what is the reason behind we need to have, say, this regulation or this law, and where do we want to go with it? Yeah. And then of course you can go down all the details, but that's really what you learn. Yeah.
The thing I would like you to take away from the call today, if there's one thing, is that you're already way overqualified for what you want to do, and giving yourself the excuse of I need to have this coaching accreditation. Like you've got a master's.
Yeah.
You no one's really going to care about your coaching accreditation. What they're going to care about is, okay, this guy's got a master's in law and he decided he values this more, and these are the results that he's getting. These are the results he's had with himself. These are the results men in his group are getting. Nothing wrong with getting the coaching certification, but it often serves as procrastination. Not someone who said, I want to be your first client. Like that's saying, please, can I give you some money so I can fix my life? That's what he said. And you don't have to take all his money. You don't even have to take any, but I think these are signs that like, let's get started. The universe is trying to get you to start, because when you start, things can come.
Okay. Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like it
does. Absolutely. Yeah.
People who get law degrees and medical degrees, they have the paradigm installed that you have to get permission to be able to make a lot of money, because it's really hard to get permission to make a lot of money. The truth is you don't actually need permission to make a lot of money. And the people who make the most money often don't have any permission. They often drop out of college because they want to make their own rules, and then they went and wrote their own checks. So nothing wrong with doing it, and nothing with the path that you've chosen. But as I said with Alex has got a degree in chemistry from Oxford, one of the most prestigious universities in the world. He just joined the program, and he's like, I can see how this is going to be more valuable to me than my Oxford degree. That's what he said in his 1 minute testimonial. And it took him 15 years to get to six figures. He said that openly. It took him 15 years to get to six figures, working down that path of incremental progression professionally. I've told him he's got 12 months to get to six figures in his personal business. And you can see how he can do that. So, and then he can live wherever he wants, which is what he wants. And I'd like the same for you.
I think, that's very inspiring, and it's true. And that's probably sometimes the issue, I have is probably putting knowledge before, experience. And so I think, the idea of going straight away with the experience is one I want to try. So yeah.
Excellent. So the Discipline Action Brotherhood is a good place for this, where we can have micro check-ins on a regular basis. And we've got Chris, who's on the call, just gave young Liam a one-to-one masterclass in the sales process. The support is here around you to help you to do what it is that you want to do there. It's not going to happen on this call, but the more you plan on it happening, just taking those next steps a little bit sooner than you feel like you're comfortable. I don't want you to be way out of your comfort zone, but I want you to be right on the edge of it as much as we can. That's the goal. Are you familiar with the concept of the comfort zone? Might have paused. You guys still there?
Yeah.
Is it something that's coming up for you there as well, Andrew?
So many things. It's kind of so many things. It's hard to kind of dial into just one. But yeah, I think the big takeaway for me is less over theorizing and analyzing things and more taking actionable steps is the big takeaway for me in a lot of these conversations, I think.
Yeah. If you get on your head,
anyone can say what they want to do,
yeah,
but the people who actually do those things are the ones that succeed. So yeah, I think that's the big thing that I know I need to work on, and I'm working on.
you're in a good place for it.
I know.
Back
in the best place that I could be for that.
Yeah, I think so. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Are you back there, Alvin? I saw you may have just dropped for a second, cruising through the countryside. You're on mute. There we go.
Yeah, sorry about that. Going in the countryside of Luxembourg. So going, what's it called? Like a plane gliding. You get pulled by another plane and then you glide in the air. So
Excellent.
yeah. So I'll get some breathing space there and think about this call.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, I'm glad we had the chance to speak again, and I'm very excited that we have this Discipline Action Brotherhood as a follow-up from when we get energy on a call. It's like we have the opportunity then to express that over the days and weeks ahead, where sometimes it was too long in between these conversations and the energy would die. But the more of us that are on this level and making plans, I think I set the target earlier this year to have multiple businesses that make $1 million a month. I want 100 businesses in my network that make $1 million a month. And when I first said it, I was like, well, how the fuck would that happen? Like, no idea. Like, but that's what I want. So that's what I'm going to say, because at that point we can pop up villages anywhere around the world. We can have private jets, like everything's possible at that point. And that needs to happen. And so I don't know how to do it, but I know that it's going to happen. Having Discipline Action Brotherhood, now I can see how it can happen. And we need to make it, more elite and have more men that are working full time for themselves. But now I see a path where it's like, yes, we get lots of things done every 5 days, and we're accountable to things, and we're supporting each other, and we're problem solving. As a business owner, like even with my staff, it's 1,000,000 times better. But as a coach and a mentor, I feel like it's going to happen now within the 4 years. So yeah, I'd love your thoughts or feedback on that, just as we finish up for this session. Intentions going forward, leveraging that potential.
My intention is to get a lot more serious on seeing how I can help the other men in this group. I get really pumped up and fired up about it, and I know that I can translate into others. I've done it for others, and I'm excited to do that. I'm gonna, I really hope you book with me, Andrew, or I'll talk with you, because actually in the gym stuff is really my bread and butter. So I've had lots of great little tips for you. But
Yeah, I'd really like that. So yeah, that sounds good.
great, thanks.
Cool. For me, my intentions are definitely keep doing more of this kind of stuff, getting more exposure to kind of building up my own confidence and building on the values that I already know I have, and also building the ones that I want to have that don't have, and obviously in the process trying to help more guys do the same, help the people in person do the same that I work with, and yeah, apply it all to what I'm trying to build as well in my offer.
Sure. Well, on my end, I think I can sum it up by more doing and less thinking. Simple as that. So yeah.
Yeah. You still think, but you think on the feet. Think on the move. That's the
Exactly.
doing so much more on the move. Yeah. Enjoy the gliding there. There's actually a place here where they do that as well in Dusseldorf. We walk there near the park. It's a beautiful thing. Those
Yeah.
gliders. Enjoy it, and great to see you again. Have a great rest of the day there. If you want to stay on for a few minutes, we could discuss what you're thinking about there, because what time is it there in New York? Oh, it's morning now. Hey? Yeah.
You're on mute, Chris. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 6:30 here. I've been I've been up through most of the night, but this is a great place to put it. But yeah, I'd love that. I was gonna basically, if I didn't catch some rest, hang out until the 8 o'clock or the next mastermind anyway. So yeah,
What time
I love that.
you were on before? Was it like 2 o'clock in the morning or something?
Yeah.
You're all good. I have those times as well. Like once or twice a year, I get like a bit of just got to get after it and.
You got me with one of your videos a while ago of like, you know what, men like can wake up at 3 a.m. and like, because the sun's up in a little bit. That's when the hunt actually begins. And I stopped giving myself shit and trying to just lay in bed, hoping I'd get back to sleep and say, no, I can work for a few hours and then knock off. But
yeah, it always works itself out. The body will sleep when it needs to.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. I'll let's have a few minutes there. But great to see you, Andrew and Alvin. Appreciate you jumping in and see you in the discipline action.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See you there.
Great rest of the day.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. So I guess I've seen you cut loose on the sales side of things. It's obviously you have massive passion for it, and it's a huge hang up for most of the men that we work with. That they feel it's on some level they feel like it's evil, or they feel like where it's actually the opposite. Like it's the heart of creation is being able to form a partnership with somebody. You can't create if you can't connect. So yeah, I love sales, and I've built a course around it, and it's a beautiful thing to be able to have conversations and result in a transaction and a deal and a connection. It's what civilization's built on. But I can't be the main man heading it up and helping people through their scripts and talking them through their stuff and reviewing their, I'm not in a position where I can be that person as well as the other people that I need to be. So I have looked for this partnership with a few men. Coach Archie did a little bit of it. He's German. He helped like people practice their sales with him, and he's done a lot of street selling. So he taught some guys how to like cold approach in the street, which is a great confidence experience. But he's been working a job down in one of the islands down in Southern Europe. I always mess up which one it is. Mallorca it is. And so he's doing that. And then Liam was interested in doing it. Liam runs a sales team in Mexico. But he did it for 6 weeks and it's just like, oh, I just don't really feel like I want to do this. And he wants to build an equipment company now. And he tends to change his mind a little bit, but he's a good man. So the thing with this is like, there's definitely a 6, probably 7-figure business in this within Uncommon Success, because there's already so much rapport. Like it's quite easy to say, and you just have like a certain amount of free value and then a certain amount of done with you, done for you value. And like we're away as far as a business goes. If you put some free value in there, then everybody's winning, everyone feels good. And then you have the opportunity of, okay, I want to go deeper on this. I want custom scripts, or I want custom feedback, or I want extra accountability for the month. So I go out and offer that thing. If you want to be that guy, then we could definitely, run that sort of thing as a partnership. It's something that we could then build out as a model that we can offer externally as well. And so when, it's we go and take that to the world as like, we've got a sales training business. But the in-house, like if you wanted to, that's one way we could go, that where it's like an in-house thing that Uncommon Success offers, and Chris O'Toole is the provider of that, and we work together on that business. That would be my preference for it. The other way you could do it is like as an independent business, and you decide, I want to go down this path, and you build what you're doing and you build it in your own way, and you get it approved with us and we offer it, which would also be cool. It would just be less direct. Like it is a key area that would be good to have kind of in-house training as an add-on in a way, that we work together on refining the systems around, potentially building the technology and app, and like running together with our team. Like these are kind of the two paths, I guess, that we could work towards. It's not like we're going to jump straight into either of these.
Of course.
Like directions. And it'd be good to get an idea of, is it the kind of thing you would want to run anyway as an independent business? Like, and you don't have to answer this now, but it's like things to think on, or like, does, becoming part of the team around this and, building this together make sense?
Both, to be honest, because the aspects of it is something I've been kicking around and always, I just will not stop talking about and get carried away. But the partnership is extremely attractive because, truthfully, especially imagining internationally, there are aspects that of sales that work in America that are not going to work in other places. So it's actually really exciting to expand that. But yeah, I'm the partnership and that development, because I take it as a huge compliment that even the things that I'm saying to some of these guys, if you feel that it's on point with your exceptional knowledge, I take that as a huge compliment, and that green lights me to be like, okay, I'd really love to do this. I've been talking to a lot of trainers, some of the American guys, and there's a lot of people that are actually missing a lot of basic like business and personal training skills because they're coming in through the ATG program, but they don't have any type of basic anatomy and physiology and things like that would help them. That's where I was talking. I reached out to Martin Hunt because I actually have all of the in-house training for Equinox and some of the other gyms that I've worked with, that I have all those files that I would dump that into a chat bot or building the file so it could actually have a certificate, like a more encompassed a way to educate the men, so that it's not just in the ATG style and kind of standing on the shoulders of all the science that you men have put into it. All right, you've made it very simple, but there's some complexities underneath that if they're going to make a life on it, or tell people that they can fix their knees and stuff like that, I think it could help as well. But if we want to keep it on just the sales, I love the idea of it. It makes me feel like a contributing place amongst your group. I'm all for it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah, like I want to build it all, right? I want to build everything. That's my goal, but I can't build it all today.
Yeah.
So as far as like a more comprehensive education around how to be a great coach, I've tended to work with guys who've been through university and done their Cert 3 and 4 and like, you know, been through a bunch of different accreditations like that. Historically, that's who I worked with. And they needed help to think bigger and to have better things on top of a base. But you're right that with ATG guys, like they don't often have any base. And to be honest, like it doesn't interest me to be the teacher of the base. You know what I mean? Like it's not fun stuff for me. Like I know it's useful, the anatomy, but I don't want to be teaching it. You know, it's the last thing I want. Like personally, to have it within the system, 100%. Like that's fine, and like looking at how we can get that in there, 100%. And I think we'll just continue to become a more comprehensive education enterprise. And I think the AI gives us huge opportunity to do that. I'm sure there's lots of open resources that could be used in terms of the anatomy stuff. Like no one owns those sorts of things. So yeah, it's very exciting. Like we are forming a similar sort of partnership with Martin around AI to what I'm, thinking that we could work towards here. So that we can, apply this stuff within Uncommon Success, but then also help Martin to go to a much bigger audience with his AI knowledge, because he's got really important specific AI knowledge that he's frustrated that he's not able to get to the world. Like I've done my best work advocating for other people, like advocating for Ben Patrick. I was part of that thing blowing up. Like his biggest audience was in Australia for his first 2 years, and he didn't know anyone in Australia except me. And having an army of coaches behind him helped also to get on Rogan and to be able to have that credibility to go after that stuff. And with Prove It, I made $1 million through Prove It, which means I made them a lot more. And I was advocating for people to understand exogenous ketones and all that stuff, which I still really value. That's really what I do best, is advocate for other people's stuff. I also like building systems. So, what I've done with Dense and Range, like I want to do that same thing with productivity and thinking bigger. So now I feel like I have like a direction product and a discipline product, which is the two things that men maybe lack most in business. But if we could do something in the sales space, it's like, I think we can really disrupt the sales training space by getting down and really speaking to people about like having them practice. Like that's the thing that we have with Uncom. We have like unlimited labor to have them work with each other. So for every 5 calls with each other, they get to do 1 call with you, and do that kind of thing. Like they practice, and they're getting feedback. They're getting more knowledgeable. They're reading the same stuff. Like I think we can do education better than anyone's doing education. Like Stanford, Yale, Princeton, Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge. They don't actually care. Like where we want, like if Cambridge and Oxford were, are they guaranteed, like, is their objective even that people that go there make 100,000 a month? Like they're not even talking about that. There's going to be some guys get through the MBA that end up having an exit or something, but like it's happened in my crew, and it's going to continue to happen. And I'm directly aiming towards that. No guarantees. We need to put better legal disclaimers of, hey, like there's no guarantee you're going to have this outcome, but we're solving for something that they're not solving for. And so I think we can build systems around this stuff that works better and breaks some of the traditional paradigms, like using AI, using more community-based accountability. Like it is a new paradigm in education and online education.
It's very very exciting. The passion is the sales. That's what I've done and helped the most with. But like you, I've got many different ideas. I've been trying to establish like this point system in the gamification of things that every one of my clients online would have an avatar, and that by contributing and doing their point system, that their avatar either thrives or dies off, because people will take care of something better than they will take care of themselves, right? So these are just, plenty of different add-ins and things that I have no real business. I don't know anything about it. It's not my specialty, but I want to expand and learn on those things in everything. So I'm really happy in the idea of helping on the sales and then expanding into the ways that are going to help me.
Let's gamify that from the start. Like you get 1 point for running a practice sales thing, and you get 5 points or 10 points for getting on a real sales call, and you get 20 points for making a low ticket sale, and you get 50 points for making a high ticket sale. Like we can script that stuff out now. They can get a point for jumping on a call with you. Like they can get points for, one-to-one mentoring call. You get through levels of like, okay, you've written a script. Okay, you've got your DMs, quick whatever's set up in your Instagram, like all these different touch points. And yeah, like that can be a game from the start, and we can develop it more with the tech to make like the living ultimate warrior kind of avatar thing, leverage some AI images, and yeah, have that image change and stuff. Like that would be really, really cool. But like the basic level of it, it's doable in the next 48 hours, like to have a get the
well you nailed it in your assessment of the sales aspect of, you went right to pain, right? You went to like, I can eliminate pain. And that's where I would go of if Liam was in front of the person, what hurts? Do this in the next 3 seconds, and that is noticeably better. Are you in? Right? Like, so those like unrefutable wins is like where the real basis should be around, because we don't want to let the procrastination have people hide out in like the most obscure excuse they've ever gotten, and things like that. There's going to be a pecking order. There's going to be this dissection. It can go in gym, outside. It could just be follow-ups. I mean, it is endless, but it all requires that how to evaluate each of the sales scenarios and things like that.
You can be in the dab. You can set up some schedule where you're going to be in the dab. So people are already getting in there. All right, I need 5 minutes of power with Chris, and they're jumping in. You got them back to back. You're in there for an hour. Like, imagine the impact of that. Like, you've effectively got like you're a real world salesperson where you've got your sales training happening each day, checking on your numbers. Like, that's really big time to be able to say, within Uncommon Success, you can be in this live sales training thing. And like it opens up so many possibilities with already having men in DAB, and then it's easier for you, it's easier for them. Like there's already existing patterns to build on top of, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And look, that could, you could run it backwards from the psychological profiles of like the king, the warrior, the lover, the magician. This is the first time I read The Laws of Power or The Art of Seduction, which I was like, holy shit, this is the same exact stuff they're teaching me, and how to sell peanuts is how to sell yourself and get laid. So it's like, oh, wait, I do this all day, but I can't do it at night. Let me just change my mindset here. And all of a sudden, night's got a lot better.
There's plenty of guys that are happy to talk about that. That's a good side bonus thing to have in the side text. Let's do some writing on this, and we can we'll get together on a Notion page. We can put down some stuff around the point system, around the benefits, around the structure, what they're going to get out of it, benefits and features. And I think we can have a think about if you want to partner on this. Like, I think it'd be great to partner on, and I'm already thinking about the app for it, like having its own app where that stuff is getting scored and points. And it's a better way of doing every industry, every education, and then you link the AI on top of that, so you got all the best resources, whatever's free on YouTube, or it's going to be crazy powerful to put all these things together. Like, I don't see anyone doing it, to have the gamification piece, the community piece, the AI piece. Like it's like all coming together at the same time, but Stanford are not going to be the first to do it. And they don't care about sales.
Yeah, and if you can really think about like where you see those weaknesses, because there's already a couple sales systems that obviously are on there. You know,
Yeah.
I think they're all going to have the same tenants, but it's like, you know, one
things they're
person's
not interacting
explanation.
This, Chris, like what
Yeah.
it is a person, like that's what all the other stuff's all good, like the stuff I've made and stuff, Justin Devonshire's stuff, and it's all good.
Mhm.
You know, listen, what Hormozy's got a bunch of course like presentations and stuff with the closer framework. It's all good. Like listen to it all, read it all. But what's going to make people killer salespeople is like get on a sales team. All right, you fucking close it. You close someone every day. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing? Like that's what's going to make the difference. And seeing the brothers getting after it, seeing okay, this guy made 20K, okay, this guy made 50K. As the stories stack up, it's just more and more credible, more and more energy. Everyone expects to do better. It's like joining the Jets instead of playing at some, you know,
Yeah.
pick up whatever tag football.
I would love to go live. I would love to be on the call, like in a quiet, muted ear. And I don't know if you've done, you know, in my sales training, I've worked with takeovers of where if they even need it, they call me in and then we could work the takeover method. And, you know, I still have friends calling me about that coupon that they just ran out of, like, you know, of like the old process, you know, the old takeover stuff and the setup. But I think that's extremely powerful too, you know, not too dissimilar to that woman that you had to talk to the mother of a teen. And, you know, somebody gets on, it's, hey, this is what we're about. This is what we're about. This is what we're about. And just great. And it's done.
Yeah.
You know, so that kind of support, I think would be great. And then, you know, in the business side of things, that's where we could talk about like how a payout works if, you know, if you need me to close like the whole part of the deal, there would be a higher percentage payout, because that's where having a few trainers that are under my wing that are going at a lower price point, I can always juxtapose my price to their price and just keep selling training and still, you know, kind of keep that hierarchy. So, you know, I'm pushing for my 250 an hour. They'll take 100 for the youngster and I'll take $20 out of that. After 3 times of selling, reselling, they can have the whole client. I don't want to get into long-term. I want to build their business. I know it's the best way to get loyalty is by paying them and that kind of stuff. So I think you and I are very much like-minded on that. So
yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Let's get some stuff in, you know, written down about what we're thinking here, and then we can check in again within the next couple of days, and see where we get to. But yeah, this excites me because it's 100% in your zone of genius, and it's going to transform like the lives of many men within Uncommon Success. Like you've been here enough, you've seen enough now to see how impactful this can be. And straight up with you, like I have a salesman, Maverick. Have you spoken with Mav? Did you speak with him when you came?
I did. He was the guy that I spoke to when I signed up.
So I've been asking him also, like, hey, like I'd love you to get involved with the community a bit more, make some time available. At the moment, he's really focused on just being a closer, and he's doing a training with Sales Sniper, I think the company is. It's one of the big ones. They did a call recently with Hormozy's gym launch, the owner of Gym Launch now. So he's doing some training with them, and he's a good guy. We're getting on well. Like he's been working well for us. But yeah, to be transparent, like I've wanted him to step into doing some of this sort of stuff, and he's just not ready for it yet. Like he's quite inexperienced in a lot of ways. Like he's made a bunch of sales, but he got straight in it like by software as a service sales. So he's working like SaaS stuff. And then he did a bunch of cold stuff for a really shitty paid advertising product that was like, I think it was selling affiliate marketing or something. It was like just one of those get idiots off YouTube to put their phone number, call 1 million idiots, get 1,000 sales. So he was on call with dickheads all day. And so he left that us because he doesn't have anywhere near the call volume and he makes more money.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You
like
could hear it in his process. He has those steering, leading questions that like I was ready to buy because I was ready to buy. So someone like me, I would typically be thrown off a little bit or be disheartened.
I think
With a no disrespect, you know, I'm not the international aspect of it and getting people and, you know, that teaser call of it. Are you serious? You need to hear certain things. I get it. I get it. And not to say I don't have a ton to learn from everyone. It just felt that to me, that steering process it just gives me the willies. But you know, that
it was, yeah, to an extent, Chris is like him or me, and I need to work on other things. Like I did all the sales in March and I did a good job with it. And then we started to work together, you know, in April, May, and it allowed me to get other things done. Like it's very difficult to build products at the same time as doing all the sales. And but yeah, he's growing and he's a good man. And it's an adjustment for him to realize that, yeah, there's a percentage of the men who get on calls who just want to come in, like they've already done their research and they're wanting to join. And I think he prepares for battle a bit too much times because that's what he was doing before. He was dealing with dickheads who he had to wrestle their wallets off him. But yeah, this is all part of the game, and it'd be great if you guys form a good relationship and he plays a part within this if he wants to. I always open the door for him on getting involved more in this way. But yeah, just to be clear, like he's working with us in that way. And I am interested in having someone else who does some calls for us as well, which could be something that you might be interested in. I've been thinking like it would be good to. I think we could do really well offering this out of LinkedIn and with Discipline, Action, Brotherhood, and some of those things of like finding your purpose and being more accountable and stuff. Like I feel as though we could go to a different crowd on LinkedIn and do pretty well. Like guys like yourself might be more on there than the Instagram crowd. But yeah, this is all stuff that we can explore as well.
Yeah, my some of my weakness is on the technical side. So and I want to get some things together, but I'd say Notion is a weakness for me right now. Is there somebody that you can recommend that I would speak to, or should I just get back into the Notion videos? And
did you go through the little course? There's a 10-minute video because I couldn't work it out to start with either. And then there's like one 10-minute video that was it's not using like the fancy features. It's just pretty much like how to start a page and how to write. And let me send you that one. And then, just ask any questions and I can connect you. I think Indabongo is probably the one, but there'll be someone else as well. Who's like, if you want to actually get on a live tutorial around it, it's one of those things. It's like, till you do it, it's weird. Like same when you first use a smartphone, or like we're the same age, like when you first do emails or when you first been through all these things, and it's just another one of them. Like when you first set up crypto stuff, it's a hassle as well. And then once you've done it a few times, it's okay.
Would you recommend that I invest in like a good desktop situation? I know that what I'm getting into, I'm looking at a lot of information management, and like the phone is great, the iPad is great, but I need to think bigger, but I don't want to just start spending money if it's unnecessary.
You don't have a laptop at the moment? You just use
it's my wife. I got a new one. My wife kind of took it for herself. So that's what happens to lots of things around here for me. So
yeah. I don't know. We'll see how it evolves, but like you can get a lot done from iPads these days. Like, does it have the keyboard and stuff with it?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say you have to go out and get it today. Like if you have a tripod, they can set your camera up. So if you want to stand or you want to sit, like that makes a difference for me. I'm putting the computer up on this thing so I can, stand up for it. I'm just on a laptop, but it is nice to have a good desktop setup. I had it, but then we've moved around a lot, so I haven't been able to bring it. But
I do also have some sales presentations that I've made in the past for things like that. So I can just kind of do a little info dump and you can see if you like any of it, or, to me, it seems old hat to talk about time management and like showing up for appointments. But, that's the stuff that everybody always fucks up. So it's got to be in there.
Yeah, let's put it all forward as like A to Z, and then we can work out what the quick start versions are and what I'll set up a page now and invite you to it, and then you'll have access. Just send me the email. Do you know what email you have connected to Notion?
I believe it's chris.h.o'toole@gmail.com.
Okay.
I could just send it to you in the chat right now.
Yeah, let me see if I can. Yeah. I'm starting another group as well. I was going to ask you about that for guys who've got higher incomes or higher net worth. So the plan is to bring together like the top end of my network, because I love having uncommon success, but there are a lot of entry level guys who haven't had the time to amass any wealth yet. So the new group that I'm starting is like for people who are making 25K plus a month. And there's quite a few from my old clients that qualify for that. And then other network that I have, it's either 25K a month, have a massive following or influence and a good business, and or $1 million net worth. It's the same sort of idea as what we're doing with Uncommon Success, just at a higher level. And it's going to be a smaller group. And it's also to sort of mentor and give other role models for men to aspire to within Uncommon Success. There's a bit more detail to it and stuff, but is that like, is your position somewhere around there, or?
It's the short answer is yes. I'm in this place of where do I go for the next round of money, right? I'm making about 20,000 a month. Should I be trying to pick up a few more clients, or should I be picking up a piece of land and whacking it up into camping B&B and start making money off of the property and building like the early stages of my village in the back? Those are the many different plans of all that keep popping up. And there is a confidence factor that honestly, I even though I've amassed this, I've gotten to this point, I don't own it. I need that reminder and that continuing to build, and not like, okay, I did good at this one thing, but can I just keep reproducing it and like what you said, those things that you spoke about, reproducing even like $500,000 businesses, is like, it just is so much more meaningful than just the usual $1 million, like all the tagline stuff. so that's the part of, I guess, if I did another one, if I was able to have another product, then it's all not over, but it's just beginning, because then the true confidence of that repetition is in there.
Yeah.
But do I continue with my current strengths, or do I go into something that is untapped? I love your example, but you're also then reminding me, like, stick with what you're passionate with. But I'm also passionate about changing and becoming something different, and someone else, or as I'm evolving, or as fatherhood takes a deeper hold in me. So that's just a little bit of the back and forth. That somebody in my position, I don't feel secure in my position, right? Like I'm a Taiwan getting attacked away from all of my savings and my stock market shit being wiped out, and stuff like that. So yeah, it definitely has the appeal. It's just, how do I spread my wings into things that I'm not good at now, but I can be good at anything just by putting in the time, or better than most.
Yes. Yeah. So if by building something else, it gives you like bigger peace of mind that whatever happens, if you have to start again, like, you're sweet. You'd rather, like, you'd like that feeling of, if I had to start again, I've got team around me, I've got network, I've got things in place that, if it doesn't really matter what happens with what I've amassed, because I'm getting better as a man and I'm becoming more capable. Is that resonating? Like, is that sort of?
Yeah. The damage to the gym, and when you were talking about the destroyers, I at first I thought somebody threw an actual person, not that it wasn't the weather, but like that you're into building something beautiful. Like, yeah, sometimes, if I'm to take the American way of looking at it, we have 50 states of different ways of living. So if I don't like what's going on in New York, I got 49 other, well, maybe like 20 other options to go to find something different. But I have to be willing to pull it all up, start all over, because the meaning in my life is not the construct of the business. It's always going to be my family. It's always going to be that self-reliance and able to grow or change from a hunter to a farmer to a new language speaking whatever.
Yeah.
So
how scary is it to you, like, the idea of, if you were going to change countries or states? Or
not too bad for me. Even though I came from frugal parents that saved a lot, they came from, I'm not going to say nothing, but they didn't have much. And there have been points in my life where I've stripped it all away intentionally, just to not have to ask anyone for help, or like turn back to back to my family, that I was like, I could live on ketchup sandwiches and shit for a real long time if I have to. So I've always appreciated the times when I would have everything stripped away, because it doesn't take long before you're like, that shit doesn't matter. And the real important things, you can come over, honey. This little angel.
hello.
This is Keegan. This is Charlotte.
You see my little girl? See if she's here somewhere. I got a little girl and a little boy, and one more on the way.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Even
But these I mean, really, so much of the things,
That's it. This is Manu. This is Chris.
Hello. So you could wave, Charlotte. Yeah. So I love all the things that you've been doing, but I also have a mind that wants to take on everything, and then I still get drawn back into just being a human and the regular stuff. So I tell my wife, if I lost my job, the whole family's going to Montenegro and we're going to figure shit out over the next 90 days. Like that.
Yeah.
Why else? What else? Just around me, people looking for more meaning, and then the rest follows through. The business stuff all works itself out. So
Imagine we all have businesses and we all have houses in Montenegro, Vanuatu, Paraguay. Costs less than $500,000 to have 3 places in 3 kind of quiet parts of the world. And we all got businesses, we're all helping each other's businesses, and that builds the whole, everyone's going to gradually adding to the infrastructure in these locations. Like, to me, that's the position I want for myself. And then if I can live in America, I'll probably do that. Like, I'll live a bunch of time in America, or I'll move there in the future if it stays how it is now. Like, as much as it's in trouble, it's still amazing. But I've got other things to do before I'm ready to do that. You know what I mean? So like, I want to have these assets and resources in place. Ideally, I can send a young guy there. He's like working hard in the app. I'm like, all right, get down to Paraguay, live in my house, dedicate yourself full time to building this thing for 6 months. You're going to be with these 20 other dudes, and you're going to be held accountable with the DAB and stuff. Like, this is like my dream. It's a bit wild, but best case, it's like that. Worst case, it's like all the top guys hunker down in somewhere quiet for a few years and then reemerge stronger than ever and keep going.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Well, if you find your way traveling through New York, I'm only about 25 minutes from JFK or any of the other major airports. So I'd be happy to host you or any other quality men that are going this way. If they're in a bind, you got a safe place here. Yeah,
I appreciate that. It is always good having the face-to-face connections. It was great. Go and spend some more time with Ben, and I met a bunch of the guys in Florida and California earlier this year when we were over there. So we are going to be going that way in the next 2 months. So I need to, ideally we're going to get some face-to-face time, but it's just about everyone progressing towards more freedom. Like, the more we all progress towards more freedom, more opportunities, more skills, better resourced. Like, that's the way I get myself into a stronger position, is by everyone around me being in a stronger position. And this is a good step towards it. So yeah, did you get access to that?
Let me.
You might have an email.
Okay.
I'm inviting you to the page.
Okay, yeah, I got the invite.
Cool.
Okay. Okay. So I'm getting so it's asking for a login code. Does that come from you, or is that back into is that in like the email?
Yeah, probably an email. You would have got an email just asking you to log in, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm in. Oh, there it is. Call script, triage script. Okay, yeah, I see that. Point system resources. Is that you typing now?
Yeah, it goes in live. Like, so that's the thing about
That's
it.
wild.
Yeah. It's a special time we're in right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what would you like from me, and or should I just keep checking in on this page and start adding to it?
yeah, just as things come to you, let's just like freestyle it over the next 48 hours and see where we get to, see what sticks. And I think we have a foundation for the concept there from what we've discussed. And if we flesh that out a little bit more, and then we can work out what that first phase launch is, and then where we want it to be a little bit down the track.
Yeah, I mean, if we could get a hold of like people's closing scripts, successful DM closing scripts, right? You just start feeding all those conversations into an AI model. You'll just have something closing for you, all day long.
Yeah. One of the things.
Scary.
Yeah, it's one of the things we've been discussing to work on building out.
But yeah, I mean, truthfully, and to be very honest, I don't have any experience in direct marketing in messages and things like that, because I never had to. It was always in person. So I don't know if there's a different approach.
Yeah, I've got documents and stuff that I've put together around that, and yeah, I've made a lot of sales in that way. So it's can be more my side of things.
Okay. And if I was to start typing on here, would it be popping up on your end, or are you the only editor?
No, I'm pretty sure you have edit access as well.
All right. I don't want to start pressing buttons.
Just sorry. There's an undo thing as well.
Okay. Mm. 5 to 10 students. And then any thoughts on how I would basically make I know you were saying in the action block of making myself available, or are you thinking of something a little bit more structured of on a regular basis? Like I would just put in a couple, like 2 hours a day or 3 or 4, several days a week. I like weekend support. People buy on weekends because they've been making money all week. But there's a lot in there.
Yep. So, like somewhere around an hour a day available would be pretty cool. Like sometimes you do a morning, sometimes you do an evening. But first step would be I'll put in the connected group, hey, looking to offer some more support around sales. If you would like to discuss your scripts or your current position in sales or sales philosophy, jump on a call and just go a little bit more with market research and just getting a little bit more feel for what's going on there in the group. And at the same time, we can sketch this out in the background. I feel like that's probably the best place. Like they'll tell us what they need, just ask them.
Right.
And then we've got that sales chat as well, which has been screaming for a leader. So if you can kind of make it your own in there of putting up some tips and inviting some conversation, asking guys to,
okay.
Yeah, what have you been sending out on your DMs, and what challenges have you been having, etc. I think we can start there, and then this will start to take shape in the background.
Great.
Well, get back to it there. You're
yeah, I'm gonna jump. I got to start making some breakfast, and we'll see if I can get to sleep. Otherwise, you might see me creeping in the background on the next one. But thanks very much. I really appreciate all of this, and look forward to any collaboration or things that you need. Just let me know, and I'll do my best.
good, man. We speak soon.
All right.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.